What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. And in today's video, yes, we will be going over a 7-round mock draft that myself and JWAC Reactions, Josiah, you know him well. He's a friend of the channel. He's been on a few times before. We sat down a few days ago and we did an entire 7-round mock draft. Now, this mock draft took 5 hours to do all 257 picks. Yes, we both have nothing better to do with our time than sit down and entertain each and every one of you. I'm just kidding. But yes, we did sit down for 5 hours over a stream together and we made every single pick. We alternated picks with, I believe, JWAC had number 1 overall. And then we flip-flopped a few times because his favorite team is the Indianapolis Colts. So every time they came up, he did their pick. Same thing with me with the Jets. I did their pick. So we flip-flopped. There are no trades in this 7-round mock, unfortunately. So before I dive into each pick that we made for every single team, this is a little bit of a different style. So a couple things that you should know about this is, one, we did no trades for this one because with 7 rounds, you really have to go through every finite detail with a 7-round mock. You can't just be throwing in 7th round picks willy-nilly because next thing you know, the Arizona Cardinals end up with 17 picks in the 7th round, stuff like that. So we decided to hold off on the trades, especially since we were making so many picks. So if you guys want, this isn't the only 7-round mock draft I will be doing, I don't know about JWAC, haven't spoke to him about this yet, but I will be doing another 7-round mock before the 2024 NFL draft. And let me know if you want me to make the picks in front of you. Usually when I do a 7-round mock, I make the picks for the first 3 rounds in front of you guys, and then I do day 3 on my own, and then I show you something kind of like this. But this is the way that we did the 7-round mock. We went team by team, so it's more of a 7-round mock draft roundup, if you will. So we're going to go through all 32 teams right now. We're starting in alphabetical order, and we have the Arizona Cardinals, number 1, the first team in alphabetical order. Now, this was an incredible mock draft for them. I mean, just look at the names everywhere here. Marvin Harrison Jr., Kool-Aid McKinstry, Byron Murphy, Christian Mahogany, Braylon Allen, Jonah Ellis. Those are the guys that really, I mean, these are impact guys from day one. And then you have great offensive line depth. You have Jarvis Brownlee as well, Tyrone Hopper. Anthony Gold is someone that I really like as a day 3 deep threat, a super, super good athlete for a wide receiver. I think this is a super solid draft. It addresses so many of the Arizona Cardinals' needs. And another thing, too, I believe the report just came out today. I'm recording this on Tuesday, April 9th. You will be seeing this the next day. It said that the Arizona Cardinals are looking for about 3 first-round picks for a team to get the number 4 overall pick. So I doubt that they move up. I doubt that a team gives up that much draft capital to move up. But I really like the direction that we went here. I believe I made the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick, and then JWAC went with Kool-Aid McKinstry. I love that pick. Kool-Aid is someone that I think is a perfect case of prospect fatigue, where everyone was so high on him at the beginning of the draft cycle. And then just as, of course, as athletic numbers come out and all that kind of stuff and his Jones fracture, people start pushing him down the board. But I still think he's a first-round talent. I think that was great value. I think this is a fantastic mock draft. You get 2 really 3 starters right away if you want in round 3. Christian Mahogany, Braylon Allen, Jonah Ellis. I mean, just tremendous value up and down the board here. Now we're going to go to the Atlanta Falcons. This is another one of my favorite drafts that we did throughout the entire 32 teams. I'll be fully transparent with you guys when I didn't enjoy some of the picks, when I thought we did really well, where we didn't. Wait until we get to the Buffalo Bills, and you'll see where we both think that we did not do well. So Jared Verse was the surprise pick at number 8. I've been reading a few things and hearing a few things. Could be smoke screens. You can never go off of really what is being reported at this point. A bunch of smoke screens, but apparently Dallas Turner is not the edge 1 on Atlanta's board. So I went with Jared Verse because I feel like even though he's a little bit of an older prospect, I think he's more pro ready, if that makes sense, or to make an impact as a pass rusher right away, where Dallas Turner is going to impact the game in so many different ways. And eventually his pass rushing prowess will come through as he develops over time. But Verse, to me, is the more ready to go from day 1 prospect. And that's exactly what the Atlanta Falcons need for their pass rush. Xavier Worthy, amazing value in round 2 here. Just get an incredibly fast receiver to go along with Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London. a fantastic a fantastic pick there. Kyrie Jackson adds to the secondary as well. I just love this draft really from top to bottom. Dadrian Taylor Demerson as well, a really nice safety prospect. Good athlete, Christian Jones. Am I the only one? Let me know in the comment section. We spoke about this while we were doing the draft itself. I feel like the Atlanta Falcons never draft offensive linemen. I feel like the only one that I could remember off the top of my head over the last 5 years was Matthew Bergeron. I just feel like they always have like a plug and play player just ready to go and don't have to spend high draft picks on offensive linemen. Obviously, I know that's not necessarily true. I believe they traded up in the first round when they got Chris Lindstrom, and that turned out to be fantastic. But let me know what you guys think. I just feel like, when you look at a team and you're like, I just never see an offensive lineman mocked to this team or anything like that. But I think this is one of our better 7 round drafts for one team. I love the value up and down. Yeah, I know Kalen King, it is what it is. I think he's a UDFA, to be quite honest with you. But JWAC wanted to draft him here, and I think this is a good landing spot for him. He doesn't have to be the CB1 or even CB2 or probably even CB3 at that point. So we have the Baltimore Ravens here. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I don't love it to the point where I feel like we were both kind of forced into taking Tyler Guyton just for the offensive line situation that the Baltimore Ravens are in. Troy Franklin, I feel like, was amazing value here at number 62 overall. You just get that speedy deep threat that could win those 50-50 balls down the field as well. Brandon Dorlus, a perfect odd front edge rusher, in my opinion. Javon Bullard was great value, someone that could play corner, someone that can play safety as well. So a lot of Ravens fans like to challenge me on the fact that they think that I don't know that they have two great safeties. Yeah, I know that you guys have Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. I know that you have them, but you have next to nothing behind them. So you're going to have to either sign a safety or draft someone at some point. I don't know why people are so against that. Elijah Jones, if you want a man coverage corner, that's your guy. Dylan Lobby I thought was a really nice pick in the 5th round. Purely, probably going to be a pure pass catcher out of the backfield. And I feel like with Mitchell and Henry in the backfield, I don't know if you really have someone that could be that Danny Woodhead type of player, not just because Dylan Lobby's white, because he plays like Danny Woodhead, all right? Walter Rouse, we get both Oklahoma tackles here. Didn't even realize that, by the way. And you get a runner-up or a finalist for the SEC Defensive Player of the Year in Nathaniel Watson. I just think this was great value up and down the board. The one thing that kind of spoils the draft for me is the number 30 overall pick. I kind of wish that we were trading, because if we were trading, I'd probably move up to get Amarius Mims. Maybe I feel like that's the better option for the Baltimore Ravens. But I mean, Guyton is perfectly fine as well. It didn't sit right with me at first. So, okay, here we go with the Buffalo Bills. So we started off really good, in my opinion. We have Brian Thomas Jr. at number 28 overall, amazing value. Tyler Nubin at the back end of the 2nd round was a fantastic pick. This is where I don't want to say it goes off the rails, but we got a couple really nice value picks here towards the end of the draft. It's this 4th round, 5th round picks that we just kind of, threw shit at the wall and hoped it sticks. I like Laumea. He missed an A here on Salatoa Laumea's name. I like him. I think that he's being undervalued throughout this draft process. Maybe there were other players that were better on the board at the time. I just thought he fit really well for what they're looking for here. Delmar Glaze is someone, before people come at our neck saying that we didn't get a center, Delmar Glaze is someone that has experience all on the offensive line. So that's someone that you can mold into a center if you wish. I really like Isaiah Davis down the board to be a backup to James Cook as well. Maybe now that I'm looking at it now, Jalix Hunt as well is maybe a little early there for him. Brendan Rice, I feel like, was really nice value here in the 5th round. So yeah, I guess if you walk away with Brian Thomas Jr. and Brendan Rice, it's really not a bad draft, but I felt like it was so much worse when we were actually drafting it, but I guess it's not that bad. So now we have the Carolina Panthers here. And so Xavier Leggett was our first pick here at number 33 overall. Darius Robinson, Cedric Van Pran, Jalen Wright, Josh Newton, Tyrese Knight, Jalen Carlisle. So Carlisle, excuse me. I said Carlisle. But Xavier Leggett, I feel like, is really much the consensus pick at this point at number 33 overall. In my last mock draft, I did have the Carolina Panthers trade up I believe I gave up a third and a fourth round pick to move up to number 21, I want to say, or 22 with the Miami Dolphins, and they took Brian Thomas Jr., but no trades in this one. I think you're getting a really great value from both of these second round picks. If you could walk away from the second round with Xavier Legette and Darius Robinson, and then pass on a center in round two and still get Cedric Van Pran in round three, I feel like that's a win-win. Jalen Wright could be the immediate long-term answer as your workhorse back. I know Chuba Hubbard is still there, Miles Sanders. It's just a whole disaster with that backfield, but I feel like they do need to add to it, and this could be the future. Josh Newton and Tyrese Knight were really good value in back-to-back picks. I really like this mock draft, to be honest with you. I just wish that if we were trading, it would be more aggressive. In my opinion, I'd be more aggressive. Like, I would look to try and trade a couple of these mid to late round picks to move up into the first round. And then I would probably take Zach Frazier at number 39 overall if he was still there. But I do like this mock for the Carolina Panthers either way. So now we have the Chicago Bears. And like I said a million times before, if it was up to me, I would be moving down, especially with this team here. So obviously Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Then at number 9, we took Romo Dunze. At 75, we took Chris Braswell, who probably won't be on the board in real life at number 75. So we both hopped on that. I feel like that's a really nice compliment to Montez Sweat. And then we got Gabe Hall at in the 4th round. Good value as well. That was my pick. I love what Gabe Hall can bring to the table. Someone that's a little bit under the radar, someone that's an uber powerful, has great intangibles and measurables, but just has to put it together and be coached at the next level. I feel like this was very like offense, defense, because it was, but I mean, there wasn't really too much that we could do with those 4 picks with no trading. But I mean, what do you expect at 1 and 9? This is really much the consensus at this point. Braswell was the best player on the board, and Gabe Hall was someone that I was willing to take a chance on. With the depth that the Chicago Bears do have at the defensive tackle position, I was willing to take a chance on someone who might be a little bit of a developmental prospect, but someone that could really pack a punch if he hits home on his potential. So this is what we did with the Chicago Bears. Now we're moving on to the Bengals. I really love this draft for the Bengals. Troy Fautanu, someone that can make an impact right away, maybe as your future either left or right tackle of the future, can start at guard as well. Ted Karras and Alex Kappa are both free agents, I believe, after next year. With all the contracts and all the younger players that the Bengals are going to have to pay over the next couple of years, I don't really know if those guys will be brought back on long-term deals. So Fautanu is someone that I chose over Amarius Mims and Tyler Guyton because I feel like he has way more versatility, and that's what the Bengals need. Chris Jenkins was a home run pick at number 49. Jatavion Sanders there at the 3rd round at number 80. I mean, you kind of have to at that point. Kalen Carson, Tyrone Tracy, Layden Robinson, Jacob Cowing, I feel like is a really nice third option. Now, I don't know if Tyler Boyd will be re-signed. He's still a free agent at the time of recording, but if he's not brought back, even if he is, I feel like Jacob Cowing is a really, really good slot receiver archetype at that point in the 6th round. Javonte Jean-Baptiste is one of my favorite names to say in the entire draft. If we could go back here, I'd probably take an edge rusher, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Matt Lee is one of my favorite late round prospects in the entire draft class. I feel like this guy is so technically gifted and so overlooked. I feel like if anyone really can get him at this point, this is a starting quality center that you're getting in round 7. And then we had to draft Sam Hartman at 237. Quite honestly, the reason why, and you could ask JWAC about this in the comment section, is because if Sam Hartman gets drafted to the Cincinnati Bengals, you have the most handsome quarterback duo in NFL history with Joe Burrow and Sam Hartman. So that was purely the only reason why we drafted him there, full transparency. So one of my favorite drafts for any team was the Cleveland Browns. 5 picks, couldn't really do too much, but we got Mason McCormick in the 2nd round, Mekhi Wingo, not Ringo Starr, Mekhi Wingo in the 3rd round. I thought was great value. We did get Joe Milton, really off of the rumors that it seems like the Browns have the most interest in Joe Milton out of all the other teams. They've met with him, I believe, on multiple occasions. Jackson Mitchell is a really nice coverage linebacker, a little undersized for the position, 6 foot 228, but he's uber athletic and really is a great coverage linebacker. And then Brennan Jackson is a long-term kind of upside pass rushing prospect that we took as well. I really like that we got essentially right away with the first two picks, we got two day one starters right out of the gate. Makai Wingo is someone that's really been soaring up draft boards lately, and then Jackson Mitchell's a really nice rotational guy. Same thing with Brendan Jackson. Joe Milton is I don't know what they would have planned for Joe Milton there. So this is the Dallas Cowboys here. Another draft that I feel like we could have done maybe a little bit better, but it got better as time went on. Amarius Mims, someone that brings a lot of appeal as a left tackle or a right tackle. I feel like that was a very Jerry Jones pick. Jonathan Brooks is another very Jerry Jones pick. I don't know if I would take him in the second round right there per se, but we tried to go off of what the rumors are for the most part. So Jonathan Brooks was the pick there. He was on the board. He was the pick. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I feel like was really nice value in the third round. Drake Nugent, a little bit of a smaller center prospect, but someone that's really technically gifted as well. I was considering Ladarius Henderson at that spot too, another Michigan guy, but we know that they love their Michigan guys. Jomri Chroma is a developmental player that he's listed as a defensive tackle, but he's 275 pounds. He could kick out to edge and be a nice rotational piece. Miles Harden, Khalil Duke, those are developmental guys as well. I feel like it was a good draft. It could have been a little bit better for the Dallas Cowboys. I just hate their draft capital. I hate that they have 7 picks, but the majority of them are late in the 5th round and below. Like, I don't know, the Dallas Cowboys are having a really weird offseason, and I feel like this would just kind of fit that offseason to a T where you get a lot of impact players, but there's a lot of question marks. Literally, there's a question mark that comes with basically every single prospect that we drafted, which I think is funny. We'll run it down real quick. Amarius Mims, can he stay on the field? Will he develop to his true talents? Jonathan Brooks, how is he going to rebound from the ACL tear? Jeremiah Trotter Jr., yeah, he's a great coverage linebacker. Can he tackle at the NFL level? Is Drake Nugent big enough to be a center in the NFL? Can Jomri Chroma move to the outside? Is Miles Harden going to be able to keep up with NFL competition? And same thing really for Khalil Duke. So Khalid Duke. Sorry, that's tough to say the D and the D back to back there. No Diddy. So moving on to the next team here, we get the Denver Broncos. Now, another team that I thought we got some really nice value later on in the draft. So we went offensive heavy first. Bo Nix at number 12. That was a hot pick, I guess I would say, for the most part. I was leaning more Michael Penix Jr. J-Wack wanted to go Bo Nix, so we went Bo Nix. Tanner Bornolini is someone that I like that has great offensive line versatility all over the offensive line, mostly the interior. Devontae Walker in the 4th round. How could you not? Tyler Davis, same thing there, adding to the defensive line. DeCamerion Richardson is someone that's gaining a lot of steam. Garrett Greenfield in the 5th round here, someone that I think could be a starter right away on the offensive line. Thomas Harper as well. We got, some really good value later on in the draft. I feel like, Devontae Walker is a slam dunk at in round 4 at that spot. Say what you will about his game, but what he could become if you get him in the 4th round, that's a slam dunk. Bo Nix seems to be the closest thing that we've seen mirror Drew Brees' game. I don't want to say the closest thing to Drew Brees, but he excels in the intermediate to the semi-deep part of the field, and the latter half of Drew Brees' career is exactly what that was after he basically had a noodle arm for the most part. But Bortolini is someone I really like in round 3 there. Not really much that we could do with no trades. It's really tough. You have to get your quarterback, to be honest with you, at number 12. And that was really it. So our hands were kind of tied there, but I think this was a good draft class nonetheless. The Detroit Lions had a fantastic draft. Nate Wiggins in the 1st round, I thought was excellent value. Marshawn Nealon, another amazing player that they've met with on multiple occasions. Malachi Corley being another weapon for Jared Goff to throw to. I feel like that would just like such a perfect pick for that team. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malachi Corley, Sam Laporta. My goodness gracious. Ladarius Henderson, someone who again is gaining a little bit of steam as the draft looms closer. Someone that actually has a ton of versatility on the offensive line. And I think that's something that the Detroit Lions are looking for. Jordan Jefferson, I feel like was great value in the 6th. Quantez Stiggers as well, someone that I've talked about on multiple occasions. They had a top 30 visit with him in the 6th round here. He has incredible intangibles and he has incredible athletic numbers too. Why not take a swing at him? And then KT Leveston, basically at the end of the draft here, I feel like was good depth. That's someone that you could develop into a swing tackle. So I feel like there's just tremendous value up and down the board for the Detroit Lions in areas that they absolutely need help. So that's kind of the direction we took that. See what I'm saying? There's some teams that we absolutely nailed and some teams where we're like, definitely could have done better. Okay. And one of the teams that I feel like we whoa, 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 whoa. One of the teams that I feel like we absolutely nailed that was the Green Bay Packers here. I mean, ideally, if if we were trading, I would definitely use so we have 5 picks inside the top 91 or top 90 essentially. I would definitely use one of those second round picks to move up to try and get someone like Cooper DeJean. Peyton Wilson, I feel like comes with a lot of risks, but he's an absolutely incredible player. Ennis Rakestraw Jr. is someone that I feel like could really benefit from the new defensive scheme of the Green Bay Packers. Cooper Beebe at that point in the draft, I feel like a lot of people might think is a reach, but he's a fantastic player and could be the best guard in the entire draft class. Leonard Taylor at 88, unbelievable. Same thing with Jaden Hicks. Caden Wallace is a player that's ranked pretty low on a lot of big boards, but at the same time, he's a player that a ton of teams have actually met with. There's a lot of interest in Caden Wallace. That's why I took him in the 4th round there. Luke McCaffrey seems like a very Green Bay Packers pick in the 5th round there. Javion Cohen, great value. Kamani Vidal, Charles Turner, Jalen Green. These are guys that I feel like are developmental pieces that can contribute right away. I just feel like this was a talent-rich draft for the Green Bay Packers, and they're just going to keep getting younger and keep getting better as the years go on. This was a tremendous draft for them, in my opinion. Now you have the Houston Texans. I feel like a lot of people don't like this draft. I know that JWAC actually uploaded this video a couple days before I did, and they got some pretty negative feedback on the Houston Texans mock draft, and I don't really understand why. Because first off, Hunter Norzad was the pick that a lot of people had a problem with. Hunter Norzad is someone that could start right away at the center position if they're not comfortable about Juice Scruggs playing at center. But to me, I feel like they have a very formidable offensive line. If Juice Scruggs stays at center, if he moves over to guard, they still have Kenyon Green. They have a good offensive line for the most part. So I didn't understand that. Tavondre Sweat at pick number 42 seems like a home run. Same thing with Junior Colson, Mike Sanristil as well. I mean, you're getting amazing value here. I don't get what's wrong with this mock draft, to be quite honest with you. Blake Corum in round 4, I feel like could be amazing value as well. Jalen Coker, Miles Cole is a developmental edge rusher, or Jaden Crumedy as well. Carlton Johnson at the end of the draft. I feel like we absolutely nailed this draft. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, because I don't understand the hate for this draft at all. So we have JWAC's favorite team here. We have the Indianapolis Colts, and we got off to a hot start. Quinyon Mitchell here at number 15, I feel like is an amazing pick. Ricky Pearsall might be an unpopular pick with a lot of Indianapolis Colts fans, but I feel like he's going to be really, really good at the next level. Cole Bishop, amazing value at pick 82 in the 3rd round. Muhammad Kamara, I feel like, I'll be honest with you, JWAC is my boy. I feel like Muhammad Kamara in the 4th round right there might be a little bit of a reach, but I do love his game, and I do love what he can bring to the Indianapolis Colts. Jalen Ford, a great coverage linebacker. Tanner McLaughlin at pick number 191 seems like amazing value as well. And then Zion Logue from Georgia. So a really solid draft, only 7 picks, basically your run-of-the-mill, like average 7 picks that every single team gets. But I feel like he did a really good job, and I feel like Ballard's going to be moving up and down the board based off of who's on there. So they could end up with more, they could end up with way less. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Now we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like this a lot. I mean, there is crazy amount of value here. Terrion Arnold, fantastic pick. I feel like that's a slam dunk. Roman Wilson, really nice player there. Love that. That was a JWAC special. McKinley Jackson, I personally would have went with a different defensive tackle that was on the board there. I like McKinley Jackson. He's really good against the run, but I feel like he's a tad small to play that nose at the NFL level. I know he's 325, but he's only almost 6'1". Don't know how much power he'll be able to generate at the NFL level. Zach Zinter feels like a home run pick at pick number 114. Bo Braid's similar thing as well. Some people have Bo Braid as the 3rd highest safety in the class. Some people have him as like the 16th safety in the class. So I really love seeing that like difference in opinion. Then you have Will Shipley. I know that Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, I get it. But Will Shipley was on the board here, and I feel like it just seemed like a really good value pick. I know it's not a need by any means whatsoever, but Shipley can do so many different things. He can kick out to the slot, honestly, and play at receiver as well. Nelson Caesar seems like a really fun project, and Isaiah Williams is just really nice wide receiver depth. So I do like this mock. I might have made another change or two if I had another pick, but I feel like it's really well balanced with the amount of talent that you get. Kansas City Chiefs here. Really like what we did for the Chiefs here. Adonai Mitchell at pick number 32. I know that that seems like we're, just going with the consensus. And I usually don't like to do that because the Kansas City Chiefs are a team that we always, think are going to do one thing and then they do a complete, 180. They do what we won't expect. So I feel like Adonai Mitchell, if he's there, seems a little expected. What isn't expected is Mason Smith at pick number 64. This was a JWAC pick, and I love it. I think Mason Smith is a player that showed some real flashes of being an elite player, but then just kind of ran into injuries and ran into benchings and ran into, suspensions. And he didn't really get to showcase that this last year. That's what sent his draft stock tanking south. But he's got amazing measurables. He's a good athlete. I think that playing next to someone like Chris Jones could really unlock his potential. Patrick Paul, amazing value at pick number 95 here to be the left tackle possibly of the future. Jared Wiley, a lot of spelling mistakes here by JWAC. What's going on? Jared Wiley at the fifth round seems like Travis Kelce Jr. And then Austin Reed, because why not in the seventh round? So I feel like just kind of really, I forgot MJ Devonshire as well as a player that is pretty much slept on his amazing numbers in college. He was a really, really great corner for Pitt. So, I know that their secondary looks real thin right now, but this is a team that I feel like won't draft more than one player in the secondary, to be honest with you. They just develop late round talent so well. I'm not even really worried about it, to be honest with you. Usually some of these teams I'm worried about. The Chiefs are not one of those teams. Okay. So a little different for the Las Vegas Raiders. Talesi Fuaga was on the board here. I feel like that's a perfect fit to plug up that hole at right tackle for the next 10 plus years. Trey Benson was my pick here. I just feel like this makes a lot of sense. I know Zamir White is going to be the workhorse running back, and he did a good job with the workload that he had. I loved the value and I loved what he could bring to this offense as well, because we're looking at the NFL as, now that you have a great running back, or maybe you presume that you have a great running back, that doesn't really matter anymore. We're looking at a lot of two-headed, three-headed backfields where you're getting two guys that could be starting caliber players for the most part. I think Zamir White and Trey Benson would be an unbelievable mix. 3 offensive picks in a row. Spencer Rattler was there. I feel like that would add just so much juice to that quarterback room. And that's someone that I could really see that he looks like a Raiders quarterback. I could see him in silver and black. And I mean, who knows? Because he's going up against Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. You never know. I'm just saying. Austin Booker was nice value. A little bit of a developmental piece there. Great athlete, just hasn't really put it all together on game tape. Dwight McGlothern in the 5th round seemed great. Keith Randolph, Bub Means, 6'2", 212, a 4.48 speed. Give me that all day. And then Jordan McGee at the end of the draft here. I feel like the only pick that might be a head scratcher out of all these for us was Trey Benson. But like I said, I'll stand by it because I love what he could bring to that offense. The Los Angeles Chargers here, another team that might have came very close to winning the draft. Now, I will say one thing here with the LA Chargers. I would have loved to go with a center a lot earlier. I was looking for a center around that 105, 110 range there. But look at the players that we drafted there. We couldn't pass up that value. Malik Neighbors at 105. Kingsley Suamataia in the 2nd round. Cam Hart, I feel like, is a really nice pick for the LA Chargers. Good boundary corner. Cam Kinchin, someone that started off this draft cycle as a potential 1st round pick. Getting him in the 4th round here seems great. Dwayne Carter, another great defensive line piece there. Marshawn Lloyd in the 5th round. Ryan Flournoy, CJ Hansen, a FCS product center who I feel like could make a lot of noise, and Tylen Grabble as well. So I feel like we got a lot of offensive line help. We know that they are going to be running the football. Imagine having, who did they sign? Who was the runner? Imagine Gus Edwards, Marshawn Lloyd. That seems like a really nice backfield, to be honest with you. So I feel like we're cooking with gas there. I would have, like I said, would have liked to go with a center a little bit earlier, but if you look at the players that we got at the value, you can't really pass it up. The Rams next. Buckle up, because this one seems pretty awesome, to be honest with you, if I do say so myself. Jerzon Newton at pick 19, that was a JWAC pick. Ben Sinnott as well was a JWAC pick. Fantastic. Andrew Phillips, I feel like in the 3rd round, with the way that his draft stock is going, he could be a 2nd round pick. I wouldn't even be surprised. Blake Fisher, developmental tackle of the future. Bucky Irving, because the Rams just draft running backs every single year. If you go back and look at their draft classes for the last like 7, 8, 9 years, it's just a thing that every single year they draft a running back. So I feel like if Irving is there in the 5th round, they're going to pull the trigger on him because imagine Kyron Williams and Bucky Irving. Michael Pratt, I feel like could be a really nice backup quarterback for Matthew Stafford if the whole Stenson Bennett thing doesn't really work out. I don't really know what's going on there, by the way. Jalen Harrell was a player that I really liked getting here, a developmental edge rushing piece. Trey Taylor, is he even like? I always struggle with these special forces or these military school prospects because don't they have to like serve in the military right after they graduate or something? I don't know. But I like the pick nonetheless. Cornelius Johnson is like a Demarcus Robinson type of player, but he's a tremendous athlete. Daquan Hardy, Aaron Casey, really nice backup pieces there that could play a role as well. Now you have 6 picks for the Miami Dolphins. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of this draft. I feel like and you look at it and you say, like, why don't you feel like that? I don't know. I just hate the gap between 55 and 158. It just seems like such a wasted opportunity. And I know that my next mock draft, I will be doing trades, but it just feels like they lost so much talent. I mean, Jackson Powers Johnson, that's a home run at 21. Braden Fisk as well, I feel like is really nice value in the 2nd round. Johnny Wilson was just sitting there in the 5th round. I feel like outside of Jalen Jaden Waddle and Tyreek Hill, I feel like there's really nothing in terms of the wide receiver department for the Miami Dolphins. And why am I going to pass up on a 6'6", 237-pound wide receiver? If anything that doesn't work out at wide receiver, just stick him at tight end or, not a prototypical inline tight end, but still. Kamal Hayden, I feel like was really nice value. Sione Vaki as well, and Braden McGregor as well at 241. I don't know. I walked away from this draft not really loving it. Now that I'm looking at it again, I feel like it actually isn't that bad. I would have liked to go safety maybe a little earlier, but at that point, it's only 40 picks earlier because you can't really go that much earlier with that just missing draft capital there. But let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section below. The Minnesota Vikings. And we got Dallas Turner at pick number 11. I feel like that was a slam dunk, to be quite honest with you. I mean, pairing him with Jonathan Grenard, that's unbelievable duo there. Michael Penix at 23. Give me that all day. Brandon Coleman in the 4th round feels like tremendous value. You're getting a starting caliber guard in the 4th round. Christian Boyd is a player that has met with a lot of teams, and a lot of teams have some serious interest in the FCS product. Marcellus Dial as well. Could be a little bit of a reach there by me, but I really like his athletic profile as well. Tommy Eichenberg, Jalen Simpson, David White, Mason Pline, just some really nice value players that are going to make an impact at some point for this team. David White, hot take, could be the best route runner in this entire draft class. So just watch out for that. You heard it here first. The New England Patriots. J.J. McCarthy, Keon Coleman, Kieran Amagaji, Jarian Jones, Theo Johnson, Ray Davis. I mean, I feel like we got so many day one starters right there, but I feel like we were just missing something. But I don't know. I feel like that with a lot of teams. Maybe it's because I just think about it and I'm like, oh, we could have done this, could have done that. But like when you're drafting for 5 hours, I wanted to put my head through this desk that I'm sitting at, to be honest with you. It was a task. I don't know how I did it by myself last year. When I did my 7-round mock last year by myself, I felt great after. When I did it with JWAC, I was like, oh my God, I never want to look at this mock draft simulator ever again. But yes, I'm going to buy into the smoke screens and say JJ McCarthy is the pick for the Patriots at number 3. Keon Coleman, I feel like is good value there. Amagaji, same thing. Jarian Jones forms a really nice young athletic duo with Christian Gonzalez. Theo Johnson, I know that they re-signed Hunter Henry, but they seem to love going with 2 tight ends, and Theo Johnson is an athletic animal. Same deal with the Rams. The Patriots just seemingly draft a running back every single year. I feel like this was a pretty decent draft, but I feel like it could be better if they do trade down. So now we have the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints, let me tell you something. There's not a lot to like about the New Orleans Saints offseason every year usually. I feel like this was a money draft. Olu Fashanu at pick 14. Then we got Jalen Polk in the 2nd round, a really nice wide receiver too for Chris Olave. I feel like if you have Olave out wide, Polk out wide, and Rashid Shaheed, in the slot, and then you have A.T. Perry as your wide receiver 4. I feel like that's really nice there. Olaf Fashanu, Jalen Polk, Javon Solomon, Jawan Briggs, Isaiah Adams, Cade Stover in round 5 right there. Unbelievable value. Johnny Dixon, Brian Watts is a super athletic safety out of Texas, and then Amari Gaynor, same deal. I would have liked to go linebacker maybe a little bit earlier, but same thing I said with the Saints. I mean, with the Dolphins, same thing I'm going to say with the Saints here. Going from pick, you know, round 2, pick number 45 to round 5, 150. It's really tough to move up and down the board there. All right, we have the New York Giants up next. Drake May kicks it off for us here so right away, the thing that I would change about this mock draft for the Giants is we seemingly went absolutely no offensive linemen until later on. But with the players that we took at the time that we did take them, I feel like we did a really good job. Now, granted, I would have loved to get an offensive lineman at like pick 70, but Jalen McMillan sitting there. We already got Drake. Maybe got Max Melton to pair up with Deontay Banks. I feel like just you got to kind of understand some of the picks that we made based off of who was on the board. Isaac Guriendo, I feel like would be a really, really nice compliment to Devin Singletary. Kenny Logan is a hard-hitting box safety. And then Kingsley can play all over the offensive line or all over the interior of the offensive line. And the offensive line kind of sort of looks set at this point. I mean, for the most part, John Michael Schmidt's in the middle. You're going to move Evan Neal probably to right guard. Jermaine Illuminor is going to start out there. Hopefully Andrew Thomas stays healthy. Like they have a decent plan, but they definitely do still need a lineman. So we kind of failed on that aspect, admittedly, but I feel like we got some really, really good pieces for the New York Giants here. My New York Jets at this point, I feel like this is an excellent draft, and I'll tell you why. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I would take Brock Bowers at number 10. Personally, me, I would try and trade down to the middle of the first round, maybe towards the end of the first round, grab a lineman, grab a second round pick if possible, and then go from there. Get a weapon in round 2 or even round 3. Roger Rosengarten at pick number 72 feels like amazing value. He's super athletic, a great player. Malik Mustafa just adding a hard-hitting box safety to take over for Jordan Whitehead and probably be way better than Jordan Whitehead feels awesome. Carter Bradley, yes, I did take a quarterback, and I'll be honest with you, Jordan Travis was on the board, and I went with Carter Bradley. If you guys want a breakdown of Carter Bradley, just go to my top 10 quarterbacks of the 2024 NFL Draft. I bet I posted last week. I'm a huge fan of Carter Bradley, and I feel like he'd be a really great fit. 6'3", 217 pounds, a cannon of an arm. I think he'd be really great behind Aaron Rodgers. And then at the end of the draft here, I did get a wide receiver a little bit later, but they did meet with him in a top 30 meeting. Fabian Lovett was really nice value at that point. And then Jackson Sherman just to kind of round it off. I wanted to take a linebacker. So I feel like the New York Jets and the Jets fans don't really care so much about the rest of the draft after pick number 134. So I feel like I did really good with what I had at the point that was on the board. The Philadelphia Eagles here nailed this draft, in my opinion. Cooper DeJean, Edgerrin Cooper, Christian Haynes are immediate starters from day one. Cedric Johnson as a little bit of a project as a rotational edge rusher. Then you have Jamari Thrash, who is going to probably start in the slot. And then right away, you have A.J. Brown, you have Devonta Smith, and you have Jamari Thrash. Seems like a really nice, formidable 3. Chow Smith-Wade is a press corner on the outside. Frank Crum is an uber-athletic offensive tackle. Logan Lee was really nice depth on the defensive line. I would have liked to go offensive tackle a little bit earlier, but I'm glad that we were able to snag Christian Haynes right there, because my thought being that you have Landon Dickerson on one side, you start Christian Haynes on the other, and then you let Cam Jurgens play center. So I feel like that would be a really good plan for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, I really like this draft class. Maybe past Jamari Thrash, I would have went a couple different ways, but I love getting Frank Crum there. Like I said, super athletic, immediate swing tackle appeal at 6'8", 310 pounds with incredible athleticism. Pittsburgh Steelers here next. We have J.C. Latham. So, again, admittedly, I would have liked to go with a center way earlier here. I probably would have went with a center at pick 84. I really like JC Latham there at 20. I love Kamari Lassiter. Cedric Gray, for me, was a little bit of a reach. I honestly feel like Gray would have been available in the fourth round there. Jermaine Burton just seems like a Pittsburgh wide receiver. I loved that pick. Caden Bullock, great value. Gabe Murphy. Dylan McMahon is an uber athletic offensive lineman that can play center, can play guard. The only thing really holding him back is his size. I believe he's 300 pounds even, or maybe even less than that. So that was what's kind of holding him back in terms of being a more projectable center at the NFL level. But I love, on paper, I absolutely love this draft. I would have went center a little bit earlier, though, admittedly. Now we go to the San Francisco 49ers here, another team that I feel like really did well. Zach Frazier in the first round could be a surprise, but it is a need. And he is, to me, the best pure center in the entire draft class. TJ Tampa at the end of round 2 is great value. Same thing with Braylon Trice here. I'm not the biggest believer in Braylon Trice, but for the value, I feel like that's a player that the San Francisco 49ers could really take advantage of. And then a ton of fourth round picks and a ton of sixth round picks here. Javon Foster, Javon Baker, I feel like are starting caliber players right away. Audric Estime as well could be a really nice complementary back to Christian McCaffrey. Tip Ryman is that blocking backup tight end that the San Francisco 49ers are in need of after Charlie Warner left. I believe he went to Atlanta. Then Evan Anderson, Evan Williams, and Travis Glover are all developmental backup guys. But I feel like the top of the draft class was really, really good for the 49ers here. The Seattle Seahawks. This was my pick here at 16. I took Graham Barton because I just love. You know me. If you watch this channel before, if you watch my videos, I can't say enough about versatility. I absolutely love, and linemen especially, versatile offensive and defensive linemen are king for me. So Graham Barton is like legitimately the most like athletic offensive lineman of all time, according to Raz. He was unbelievable. Michael Hall at pick 81 is awesome. Admittedly, I don't really understand the DJ James pick at pick number 102 by JWAC. I know that Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen had down years. To me, they're still so young and so talented. I don't really understand, especially when you don't have a second round pick and you don't have another third round pick now. I don't really get the pick there, but he's a great player. He really is. He's a phenomenal player. And Seattle does love their corners. So I do get it, I guess, to some degree. James Williams is going to be that Jamal Adams replacement. Xavier Thomas is a really nice developmental edge rusher. Jordan Travis, I feel like, was great value there because you have Sam Howell on the roster, one more year left of Geno Smith, essentially. That could be your developmental backup. DeCorian Clark, I feel like was really nice value. This guy is unbelievable. He's just coming off of a really bad season-ending injury, and I feel like that's why his draft stock tanked. But at 6'3", 215 pounds, he's a really great player. Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Laiatu Latu at pick 26. Somehow he fell, and I definitely scooped him up. For me, admittedly, this was a choice between Laiatu Latu and Chop Robinson, and I went with Latu. I feel like he's the more, I don't want to say that Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Kancey aren't mature pass rushers because Diaby had a fantastic rookie season. Same thing with Kancey. He had a little less of a stellar rookie season, but it was still good. A lot to build off of. I feel like Latu is someone that doesn't need as much polishing as Chop Robinson. That's why I went with him over Robinson. Renardo Green at pick 57, I feel like was awesome. Bo Limmer in the third round here. There's your starting center. Malik Washington could play in the slot between, again, I get it. You're spending a third round pick on a player when you just drafted Trey Palmer last year and you already have Chris Godwin, you already have Mike Evans, but the more the merrier in terms of weapons. Kitten Oladapo is a favorite of mine, so I thought that was great value there. That's two really nice safeties right there. Blake Watson, I feel like, is a super underrated player. And Willie Drew, someone, a really small school player that had a decent draft cycle as well. I feel like this is a really impactful draft class for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tennessee Titans here, Joe Alt. Now, I feel like a lot of people, again, same thing with the Houston Texans, people didn't really like this draft from the Tennessee Titans. And I don't really get why. I think that we did really well. I mean, same thing. Joe Alt is there. That's the money pick right there at number 7. But I feel like you're targeting other players at 38, but if Chop Robinson is there, he falls right into your lap. You have to take him at that point. I mean, he was there. I know you don't have a third round pick. Curtis Jacobs feels like really like this is a player that's not getting enough hype as a really, really good linebacker in a pretty weak linebacker class. He's really good. Chris Abrams-Drain, again, good value at that point. He could be a slot corner at the next level. Jaquan Jackson is your deep threat. Jaheim Bell in the seventh round. Jaheim Bell. I mean, come on. Eric Watts, Julian Pearl. I feel like this is a really good mock. I don't understand the hate behind it, to be honest with you. But then again, I am not a diehard Tennessee Titans fan. So maybe I missed something. And then our last team to talk about here is the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels at pick number 2, Jordan Morgan at pick 36, Lad McConkey at pick number 40. Love that fit for the Washington Commanders. That is Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Lad McConkey is awesome. Adisa Isaac is a really nice edge rusher in the third round. Some people might think that he can honestly go at the back end of the first. So getting him at 67 is really nice. Trevin Wallace felt like amazing value at 78. And I know Jamin Davis, they have Bobby Wagner, but how long is Bobby Wagner going to play? You need those young guys in between. Dominic Pooney felt like an amazing pick at number 100. I mean, you got Jordan Morgan, a super versatile offensive lineman. You got Dominic Pooney, a super versatile offensive lineman. Their offensive line on the left side is garbage. So they really do need an upgrade on the left side. Dylan Holker is a fifth-round tight end that could start right away. Tyke Smith felt like an unbelievable pick, and DeAndre Prince is a boundary corner with some serious speed. I feel like the Commanders are coming. I don't think people are ready for this team. They have new life that was put into them. I was going to say breathed into them, but that didn't sound right at all. So they have new life that was put into them, new ownership, new head coach, new GM. Everything is new direction. I feel like this team is going to be really something special when it's all said and done. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There is your full 7-round mock draft roundup. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know if you like this style a little bit more or you like me making the picks and talking about the picks as I make them. So let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.